Roberts, back to Sinclair. That is just wonderful. Sinclair will latch onto this meantime, he's through again. And that is what happens when he's bearing down on goal. Armstrong. Sinclair waiting for a cross. Patrick Roberts wasn't having that. Here comes Scott Sinclair, and here comes a hat-trick. A pulsating performance from the champions.
Congratulations to Celtic, the winners of the Ladbrokes Premiership title for the 6th year in a row. It was the 300th meeting of these two clubs in the league, Celtic's biggest win since the very first meeting back in 1890 when they won 5-0 that day too. There are the match stats then. You can see Hearts did well to get 8 attempts, 4 of them on target, none of them got past Craig Gordon. Celtic 9 attempts at goal, 6 on target, 5 hit the back of the net. Clinical stuff by Scott Sinclair in particular, who got a hat-trick. He right now is with Luke Shanley and his captain Scott Brown.
Scott, very well done. Congratulations. You're the captain, Scott. Sum up how pleased you are to get 6 in a row.
It's a great performance today. I think this man started everything. Hat-trick hero, he deserves all the plaudits that he has this season, and he's been outstanding from start to finish.
Did that performance and result just sum up the whole season?
Yeah, definitely. I think the fans, for 90 minutes, were non-stop, and they believed that we were going to do it today. We believed that we were going to do it today, and we've done it for them.
What's been the difference this season? Why have you been so dominant?
The gaffers came in the way we've been playing. We're a lot fitter. We're scoring a lot more goals, and we made a couple of no bad signings, haven't we?
How do you build on this then?
We've got to keep going. We need to try and get into Champions League next year. We need to keep going this season. We've got 10 games to go now, and we need to try and push it as far as we possibly can.
Scott, you scored a hat-trick. Sum that up for us and sum up your performance.
Oh, it was great. I think for me, with the big games, I think I enjoy it, with the pressure, because obviously with us we have the pressure of the game, but it's great to come away and win the championship.
You scored on the opening day here. Is it maybe apt that you finished it off here as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think it started off for me where I started my Celtic career, and obviously it's great memories here.
Scott was talking about building on this. How much more can you build as the whole team improve and take it on?
I think we just keep going step by step. I think we just keep going every game and keep being relentless and keep winning games.
What has the manager done for you in terms of giving you the confidence? Have you found your love of football again this season?
That was the whole point when I signed. I think I expressed myself to say that I wanted to enjoy my football again. Get my form back, which I have, and just be under a manager who believes in me. So you can see it on the field, and I'm just enjoying every minute of it.
Well, many congratulations on the title, Scott. Can you hand over the Ladbrokes champagne to Mr. Sinclair? Thank you.
A 7th title for Scott Brown and a first major honour for hat-trick hero Scott Sinclair. I'm joined by Neil McCann and John Collins, who was in that dressing room as assistant manager to Ronnie Deila last season. Well, John, can I offer you the chance, first of all, to congratulate the champions?
Well, they've been outstanding. Joy to watch. Attacking football, free-flowing, every week destroying opponents. It's been a joy to watch. Worrying for the rest of Scottish football because it's a young team, and I'm sure there's going to be more investment in the summer with the Champions League money. So it's exciting times ahead. 6 titles, and I can't see anybody stopping them for the next few years, that's for sure.
10 in a row?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Unstoppable, really?
At this moment in time, it depends on what Rangers do, what kind of investment they've got. Aberdeen have done exceptionally well under Miss McInnes. They've had another great season, getting second, but Rangers, you'd expect to the challengers next year, but they've got a lot of catching up to do.
Brendan asked them to finish with a flourish, and well, history has shown the statistics I just gave out there. They certainly did that, didn't they?
Yeah, they put in a little bit of style, didn't they? When you want to win a title and you want to get over that finishing line, you want to do it with a little bit of gloss, as you mentioned. They certainly did that. I think Sinclair has been fantastic. Picking up what John's talking about 6, 7, 8, whatever it may be in the future rows. The thing that will stop Celtic, I don't think will be Rangers next year, or Aberdeen, or Hearts for the next couple of years unless heavy investments put in there. What might throw a spanner in the works is Brendan Rodgers leaving, because the type of performance and the type of reaction he's got from this Celtic side has been so good that I think he'll become an attraction to the English sides again. And then Sinclair and Dembele obviously maybe coming into the equation. Armstrong's only got a year left after this, so there's things that can happen in football. But if that team stays together, as John touched on there, they're young, they're improving, and the manager does, could be anything.
And the manager, I can see him over my shoulder, over John Collins' shoulder. He's on his way to the studio to join us now. That is what it's like to win the title. Brendan Rodgers here in moments from now. Stay right there. Congratulations to Celtic, winners of 6 in a row in the Ladbrokes Premiership. The sequence started in 2012 under Neil Lennon. Then he made it 2 in a row in the first season in which the SPL, as it was then, was without Rangers. In 2014, 3 in a row came in record time, clinched on March the 21st with 7 games remaining. Celtic finished on 99 points. After Neil Lennon left, Roy Dylai was a surprise replacement. He had to deal with that resurgent Aberdeen in 2015 and in 2016, winning it with 2 games to spare last season. As for this year's champions, it's the smallest dressing room in the world, but they are having the biggest party. Congratulations to them, and congratulations to the manager of the Ladbrokes Premiership champions, who joins us now, Brendan Rodgers. Brendan, you sat there in that very chair in this very stadium at the start of the season. Has it been better, a better feeling than you thought it would be?
Well, it's nice to clinch it, of course. But to play in the manner that we did is very important for me. I always demanded the performance. So, but you look back then. I said to the players before the game, I think throughout the season, how they've represented the club. Celtic's a club where the hallmark is about professionalism and dignity and pride and style. And I felt that we started that journey here back 7 odd months ago in the sunshine, and played well and got the win. And it was probably going to be a nice place for us to actually clinch it. So to clinch it like we did, playing how we did, is always very important, and it's a massive credit to the players. When
you arrived at Celtic, the first thing you said was that you wanted to continue the dominance. Do you feel as though you've not only continued it, but you've cranked it up to a whole new level?
Well, I don't know that. That's for other people to say. John and the guys there before me have done an amazing job. You've got to continue. You have to fight every day. For me, it's about winning the best way that you can. And for me, that's about football. That's about, for me, coming in and helping the players play out of different systems, how to play the game. The style will always be the same. That's synonymous with Celtic. You've got to play, you've got to be aggressive. But could we defend and attack as a collective in the best way that we could? And over the course of the season, the guys have improved tactically. And like today, you can see the comfort in playing out of different shapes. So yeah, but it was a great victory for us, and as I said, very well deserved.
John Collins was telling us before the game that you spoke to him before you took the job. I take it he didn't put you off then?
No,
good advice.
No. John's always someone that I admired, which is why I asked his opinion, and his thoughts and how he sees the game is very similar to myself. British players, it's about helping them technically to improve and develop, but also giving them a tactical idea, not just with the ball, but without it. So when I asked him, he was very complimentary. Of course, he was a brilliant player, but for me it was the case of getting it from a coaching angle as well. And obviously, of course, he was very supportive of everything, and very honest in his advice.
John said he mentioned a couple of weaknesses that you could work on. Do you think you've got any weaknesses in this side just now?
Yeah. You
do?
Yeah, well, there's areas that I think, Neil, that we will improve on, for sure, for the summer, going forward.
Does that mean new players then, or does that mean just continuing to work with the guys you've got here and trying to get them to that level?
Yeah, I think that it's twofold really. I think one, they will improve because their awareness of the game is getting better, so you play the game better when you understand it. And I think when I come in last summer, and obviously the time we've been able to work together, then of course you would, the natural consequence of that should be improvement. So I think the players here will improve, and I just think I need a couple of players in order to really compete at Champions League level. I think that's
what I was going to say.
Yeah,
that must be hugely important to you. The Champions League stage.
Yeah. For me, it's, as I said, it's a huge thing. I think for coaches and guys that work in it. There's a certain ingredient you need in there, and I felt with some really good performances this year in it. But there's a certain dynamic, there's a certain speed, a certain power, a certain technique that you need at that level.
See, with that in mind then, so you're looking at this season, it's been fantastic for you. You've got a treble in your sights. First of all, how important that is to you, but is the unbeaten run then, but how important does that become? Because you're not going to have a great deal of rest period after the season, especially for the international players with the 10th of June game coming up against England. Do those guys get a break then, and you sacrifice the unbeaten record in order to allow them a little bit of time, or how important is?
No, my duty's for the player. First and foremost. You know, we wanted to tick this box off, so that's 2 now with the League Cup and the league. Our now focus is for the semi-final, but I also have to think beyond that there, because it's unique really in Scotland in terms of the rest that you don't get. So I need to protect the players and make sure for that Champions League phase that we're fresh. Now, of course, we want to win every game, and I've made enough changes that lets me see that I can adapt and change the team. But the most important thing is my duty of care to the player, and as much as we want to win, it also might give me a chance to look at 1 or 2 things also.
Your 2 big signings have been majestic, Dembele and Sinclair. Do you think you can unearth another couple like that from England?
Hopefully, John. I think that Scotty I knew inside out, so I knew what he would bring, and he's loved it at Celtic. He loves pressure. With Scotty, he needs a certain team to play, and he's a very unselfish player, but he's a goal scorer, and his talent's incredible. We're very fortunate to have him. He's a English Premier League player.
Do England have a wide left player as good as him? Because I don't see it. I know he's not naturally all left-footed, but coming in off that left side, why is he not in England?
They've got some very, very good players. They obviously work with young Raheem, and Raheem has played a lot off the left side, but also the right side. So they're very similar in terms of how they operate, you know, in relation to that real sheer speed. Scott's very clean with his technique. You know, technically he's very good. He's very balanced off both sides.
He looks a lot more direct, like straight at the target.
He wants to score goals.
And you can see that.
Well, I would say that's the difference between him and Sterling. He's an end product.
Well, Raheem's very young still. Raheem's young. He's what, just turned 21. And again, they're very like in terms of how they play. But if he keeps playing how he is, and playing, if we can get Champions League football like he's done this year and operate very well, then of course he can be knocking on the door, because he's a big talent.
Can I remind you that England's next game is at Hampden Park? Don't speak too soon, gentlemen. I think every Scotsman of our generation were brought up being Liverpool supporters, given all the Scots in the team, so we were desperate for you to win the Premier League with Liverpool. You came so close there. Does that add to your enjoyment of today?
Listen, I'm obviously very, very happy to have won it. It's a funny feeling, I think, as a coach and a manager, because you know, towards the end we're 5-0 up and I'm booting the side of the dugout, because we didn't get quick enough into positions in order to build the game. So you're never overly satisfied, but sometimes, of course, you've got to come out of the battle and have a look at it and think, what an incredible achievement the players have done. They've got the reward today for their professionalism, for their attitudes, for their ability to want to take on something, you know, slightly different maybe in terms of their approach, and showed courage in order to impose that in games. And like I say, I think they're only going to get better. For me personally, it's amazing. I'm a Celtic supporter, so watched it many years, watched these guys play, you know, for the club. So it's a wee bit surreal really, you know, but I'll enjoy it with a cup of tea tonight back home and think about a great performance.
I think they've finished all the champagne in the dressing room. You probably missed out on that. From your own point of view now, the treble is obviously the next target. Is that going to be difficult, given that you know, you can put the tools away in the league now. How do you balance all of that out? Keep the momentum going, the drive that this team has shown.
Yeah, I think you have to be.
Kicking dugouts.
I know.
5-0 up.
Awful, it's awful. Apologise to Hearts for that. I think it's one way you have to be careful because you can lose momentum, you can lose rhythm. We've got the game against Partick midweek, and then we obviously will have Kilmarnock and Ross County. So I'll sit with my coaching staff and sports science team and just gauge really where players are at. But you have to go into a game like that with momentum, and that's important for us. So there'll be no, as I said, there'll be no less focus or concentration. If anything now, it ramps up even more. And the point I said to the players that the really top teams, you start quick and you finish strong, and that's what we're looking to do.
Can you make Celtic a top team? I mean, in Champions League level. Can you take them to that level, you think?
It's just time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, Neil, there's a certain level that we can get to.
Yeah.
You guys know the game inside out, and you know you're competing with teams that are 200,
Could
300
you get to the
million.
level that the English teams have shown in Champions League? I'm not talking about Barcelona's or Real Madrid's, but could you get to the English level with a Celtic side with good investment, do you feel?
Yeah, I think
because you're looking at your Liverpools and your Chelseas and Man Cities and stuff.
It's still a million miles away in relation to, because there's only a certain ceiling that's here at Celtic. That's the reality of it. I'd love to sit and say, yeah, we can go and do what they've done in '67, but the reality of it all is that our budget in comparison to, and listen, the English teams have the biggest budgets.
Does the competition here in Scotland affect your performances in Champions League?
For me, it doesn't. For me, it doesn't, because this gives us a chance. Every team wants to come and fight. Every team wants to come and really beat, you know, the top teams, as you guys know. So every game is a real test for you. But what it does is it gives me the chance to look at the players under that pressure, playing for a club of that pressure, and also to look at different systems and different ways of working. And then you can take that confidence into hopefully Champions League games.
When we're down in England and we're doing games, John's been down there, I'm now doing stuff, and I look at the standard, and I know the Scottish game is viewed as a poor division. Now you've almost won the league, as David suggested there, with Liverpool, and you've seen the teams. What is the level like? I know we're operating in a different market, but the teams, is there a huge disparity between the teams in England and likes of yourselves and Rangers and Aberdeens?
I judge us, and could we play in the Premier League? Yes, we could.
That's
no, absolutely no doubt about it. You know, because we've got the Celtic factor, over 60,000 every other week. You know, so without the money alone, this team would compete in the Premier League. You know, we took a Swansea team from the Championship, who won the Championship, and we went into the Premier League, and we finished 11th. But for us and what we were trying to do, that was very, very good. But this is Celtic. This is one of the great iconic clubs in the world. So there's no doubt with this group we could go in. Now you imagine the back end then, because Celtic would be one of the top 4 minimum, top 4-6 clubs in the English Premier League, and then that puts you on a different level altogether.
Brendan, thank you very much indeed for joining us, and congratulations. Enjoy your cup of tea tonight. Thanks to you, John, as well, and thanks to you, Neil.